Hello everybody and welcome to the first week of the Falinks Draft League Season 7. This is a Regulation J Draft League, the first that the FDL has ever done of anything like this. We've done single restricted before back in Sword and Shield. We've never done double restricted. And part of the reason is because there's really just not enough restricteds to go around. But Regulation J allows us to add mythicals to the pool. And when you add up the restricteds and the mythicals, there are just barely enough. If we go to, not Draft Archive, if we go to remaining Pokemon, these are the list of all the restricteds left. Deoxys Attack is still around, Mew, Kyurem Black, Hoopa Confined, Solgaleo, Mewtwo, Deoxys Defense, Manaphy, Zekrom, Meloetta, Diancie, Fione, Shaman Land, Kyurem, Cosmog, Cosmoem, Necrozma, Zarude, and Calyrex. And now we look at these. Fione is pretty much unusable. It's just worse than Manaphy, and Manaphy also I would not say it's unusable, but I would say it's very, very bad for the restricted. Shaman Land is almost unusable. This is just outclassed by Baxcalibur, which is not a restricted. These guys are terrible. Don't use this. There's tons of Psychic types better. Like, maybe if there's nothing else, you could use Zarude, but it's not great. I would say Deoxys Defense is unusable. Zekrom, there's better options, but I think it's actually one of the better ones down here. Meloetta and Diancie just... Meloetta maybe. It's not great. It's not great, but Diancie's unusable. This is actually maybe the worst for the tier that it's in. This guy should be like low D, but it actually slipped up to C somehow. And Spring almost took me, but Colin and I managed to talk him out of it. I think Mew is... It's a jack of all trades, master of none, and it's not even particularly good at any of them. It has like all the TM moves. That's not all moves, by the way. People have said it's all moves. No. Mew does not get Follow Me. It does not get Fake Out. There's a lot of good stuff that Mew does not get. It's just TMs. But like, sure, it has access to like a move of every type, but coming off of 100 special attack or attack, not great. I actually think Mewtwo is way better than Mew because of the extra 30 speed and extra 50 special attack, plus not unlimited coverage, but still a lot of coverage. I think that's better. And even better than that, you could get Deoxys Attack up here in A. A little bit expensive, but that guy is actually crazy. Like, it's got an amazing speed tier of 150. There's like maybe 2 Pokemon that outspeed it in the draft. It's tied with Shadow Rider, tied with Electrode, and I think it's only slower. Actually, it's just one, because it's just slower than Regieleki, because I don't think Ninjask is in this game. And even then, I think it's faster than Ninjask. But then there was Deoxys Normal here, and then Deoxys Speed was D tier. Those both got picked up. So really, I think there's like 2 usable Pokemon left. I guess like 2.5, because I think Kyurem Black is definitely usable. It's not great, but it's usable. Solgaleo is great. I think that's probably the best Pokemon that went undrafted. And then Deoxys Attack and Mewtwo, pretty much the same Pokemon between the two of them. This one's a little bit faster. Mewtwo's a little bit better coverage and a little bit better bulk. So basically whatever tier you have available is the one that you take. So I think that there were I'll say 3. I'll say 3 Pokemon left. We can take a look at the team that I've drafted. I had 4th pick overall, and going in, I knew Arceus is a great pick in this draft. It's very versatile. It's kind of like the opposite of what I said about Mew, where it does a lot of stuff, but it actually does all its jobs well. It can do pretty much anything that it needs to do, but unlike Mew, it's going to have stab on whatever you choose, and also just the ability to pick any defensive typing you want is really good. Basically, like every team, you're going to pick your Terra types, right? But Arceus, you just get to pick your base type. We do have a rule that you can't Terra Arceus into a different type. So whatever type you Terra into, you either Terra into that same type, or whatever type plate you have, you either Terra into that same type, or you can go Stellar at any point if you want. I knew Arceus would be going before me. Arceus was going to be gone. So, but then, and again, it's like I said in FDL, or ENC Season 4, when Bokos, I had 3rd pick, Bokos had 2nd pick, and Bokos advertised in the general chat that he's like, oh, I can't believe I'm going to get Urshifu. I'm so happy to have my favorite guy, Urshifu. I would not have prepped for Kyogre. Oh, no, I guess this was Season 6. Season 6, my bad, not Season 4. He's like, yes, I'm going to have Urshifu. I'm so excited. I would not have built, like, a fully in-depth plan for Kyogre. I did, because once he started advertising, I probably still would have gone Kyogre, but I would not have, like, had... like, to the picks. Like, I knew round 1 I'm picking Kyogre. If Arch makes it back to me, I'm taking Arch. And then on 3rd pick, I'm taking Illumise because it's just that important to the game plan. I wouldn't have done all that. I would have probably missed out on Illumise to Sig Trick if Bokos had not advertised the Urshifu. And same thing happened here. everyone was talking about, oh yeah, Arceus is going first. Let me make my plans. But then first pick guy says, I don't really want Arceus. I want Groudon instead. And he advertised that, which let Lazy make an in-depth plan for Arceus. And that also means that I now only have to make 2 plans. I would have had to make 3. I just made 2. Plan A was literally, Plan A is Miraidon, which is what I got because it's new. Plan B was literally just do the exact same thing I did in ENC and just tack on another restricted because, like, why not? I just won 2 ENCs with Rain and Arch, so why not just do that again? I think I can smoke like 99% of the players in this draft league with that. Anyway, I decided to mix it up. So I got Miraidon, and then I did not expect Hands to make it back to me. Actually, let's go to Draft Archive because we can do the stuff in order. Let's zoom in here a little bit to about there. So first pick Miraidon, then it goes down the line. My top choice for a restricted with Miraidon was Ho-Oh. I wanted Ho-Oh because when we look at the full list of restricted, this is going to not work because it's just remaining Pokemon. Is there a way? Let me see, actually. Can I see an old version of the sheet? You know what I can do? I bet I can go to tier votes and grab an image. It's probably announcements, actually, isn't it? Did Spring ever post? No. All right, I'll get... This is going to be an old version of the tier... Oh, no, he probably never even made a tier list image. Yeah, he didn't. Is there a way to see this? I don't think so. Yeah, anyway, let's go to Teams Display. You'll just have to trust me on this one. Most of the restricteds are Dragon type, right? There's a lot of them that are Dragons. Like Koraidon, both Gen 4 legendaries, Dialga and Palkia, wherever Palkia is, there it is. I knew I wouldn't get an S tier by the time it made it back to me, which is like a lot of guys like Calyrex Shadow and Ice and Kyogre, which would like be obviously my top choices just because the restricteds that are not, a lot of the time in the past, the restricteds would just get pressure, and that's also just so happens when a lot of the Dragon ones came out. They just are in the pressure era, like the Dialga, Palkia, Giratina. And then the other choice that I had that there's a decent number of was a Steel type restricted. There's Necrozma, Duskmane, and Solgaleo, basically just 2, really. And I knew I didn't really want that because I don't want to stack ground weaknesses with Miraidon. Plus, I knew I would be taking Iron Treads at some point. He's like one of my favorite guys, and he's already a Steel type, which is covering that. So that really leaves me with one big archetype of restricted left, and that's one of the Psychic type ones. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of Dragons, few Steels, a lot of Psychics, and then just like sort of the whatevers. And Psychic is probably the optimal one once Ho-Oh goes down, because Ho-Oh doesn't really fit into any of those categories. It's great. It's a ground resist, a ground immune fire type, which is just kind of great. So once that came down, I decided to grab a Psychic type restricted, and Mewtwo is going to be my backup because I think Mewtwo actually was like okay value in D tier. There's not great D tiers. But going, Necrozma Dawnwings was available by the time it came back to me, and I thought it would be. I did think that Lunala would be gone, which it was. Lunala is actually paired with Miraidon like a lot in real VGC, which is cool. If I was able to get that. I got basically the next best thing with Necrozma Dawnwings, but it goes down a tier, which is actually nice, because Lunala was awkward in A tier because I knew that I wanted to take Jugulus and Treads, which are both A tiers. Basically, I came in knowing that they'd probably both fall to me as long as I didn't wait like too long to pick them up, because they just have inherent synergy. They both feel, Treads especially feels really bad. No, actually, they both do feel like B tier Pokemon without the ability to use Miraidon. So other people would be getting really bad value for those 2 picks. Anyway, so I grabbed Miraidon and then I grabbed Necrozma because I was hoping to take that around like pick 4. But when Ho-Oh got taken, because I was hoping to have the option of either Ho-Oh or Necrozma open, and then just pick whichever one of them was available when it made it to my 4th pick. Or I guess 3rd. Yeah, probably 4th pick. Because it would go like this, and then like this, and I would take it here. Unfortunately, Ho-Oh went early, and then I was looking at the list, and there's really not a lot great left at that point. Like, it's between this, like, and Mewtwo. And I'm like, yeah, this is actually just that much better. So I grabbed it second. Luckily, it didn't actually hurt me, like, at all. I was actually not even planning on taking Hands. I was just expecting Hands to be gone by the time it made it to my 2nd pick, but it was still there. So I actually did sort of pivot. This was supposed to be where I got Treads. Then, because Treads is just really important to the game plan. Like, it's just the only steel type that I can justify having because my team is pretty ground weak, and Miraidon just baits in ground types, and Treads is just adding to a ground weakness, but Treads just is the option for a steel type on this team. Any other steel type wouldn't be nearly good enough to, like, warrant making my ground weakness worse. Now, Iron Hands was here, and I was thinking, does it make it back? Because a lot of teams have used up their S tier picks at this point. And then I started looking down the line, and I see, obviously, luckily, the main Trick Room team, Tyler, I knew he wasn't going to snipe me because we're bros. We're both in the parries, so he wouldn't snipe me like that. Plus, I knew he wanted Hariyama, because Hariyama's pretty cool, because you can Flame Orb, Fake Out, and then get your Fake Out to set up the Trick Room, and then get your Flame Orb the next turn. Which Ursaluna kind of also does, so might be some times when we have to run Toxic Orb on one of them, which is pretty funny. But I was looking at this team. I see Amoonguss and I see Lunala as the first 2 picks. That's looking like a Trick Room team to me. So I decided to grab Iron Hands third. I'm not displeased with that at all. I didn't even plan on having Iron Hands. I was just like, I'm going to take my S tier last and just grab whatever's left. And if we look, there's still some decent stuff left. I figured one Landorus would be around. I figured Grimmsnarl would be around. I did not want to stack a dragon. I didn't really want to stack a ground weak. That's a dragon. I figured some Ogrepons would be around. So I would have had a few options, not a lot. But I think, honestly, any of these would have been fine. Obviously, Iron Hands is fucking incredible, so I'm glad to have that. Where am I going? Draft Archive. Anyway, then it went down this way, down the line. It came back to me. Treads was available. At this point, I'm like, okay, I need to start working on my ground weakness. Grab a water type to hit them, and it's a flying type to be immune to them for switching in, which is nice. But on the line, come back. At this point, I'm like, okay, I've talked about Florges a lot in FDL Season 3. I had it in ENC Season 4, but I didn't have any Paradox Pokemon. Paradox Pokemon were banned then, and I've had the opportunity to do Florges stuff for exactly, I think it was 2 weeks. It was versus Spring, when I was forced to run Toxic Orb, and then it was versus Tyler, which was incredible. It was so fun. I did just get smoked by him, though, because I brought too many special attackers into Calm Mind Screamtail. But it's time. It's time to bring Florges with 2 Paradox Pokemon and the ability to run Electric Seed on guys, and it's gonna be Symbiosis season. I'm in my Symbiosis era, and this is gonna be incredible. I'm so happy. I think it actually just genuinely was the best fairy type also available at this point. Clefable and I don't need Clefairy on this team, but Clefable was taken, which I think is a really good one. Sylveon was not taken, but I don't like Sylveon here. It would make my Trick Room mode a little bit better, but I think I actually kind of prefer Florges with the Symbiosis over Sylveon. Plus, like, Sylveon was like, what, I think an A tier, and this is a D tier. That's incredible value for D tier. It's just got crazy stats for a D tier. I'm gonna mute my Discord since I'm recording an intro. Okay, now, next up, I got Arboliva, because I knew I wanted a grass type. I knew I wanted a bulky grass type. It's actually stupid slow, which actually helps a Trick Room mode, because Necrozma does open up a Trick Room mode with, that's also part of the reason why I grabbed Hands when I saw that it was available. I'm not letting this guy slip. Works in electric terrain, works as a Fake Outer to get Trick Room set up, and then works as a Trick Room attacker. And then as well, Florges and Arboliva, not very fast. Florges is mid-speed, Gyarados is also mid-speed, which is kind of works into some of the fast teams, like maybe Collins. Arboliva is stupid slow. It literally underspeeds like base 40s, which is like Rhyperior, which the only way it's done, I know that's because I'll spoiler alert, I'm playing the Rhyperior team. It's great. And then at this point, I'm like, okay, I want a fire type, but I don't want to make my fire weakness worse, or my ground weakness worse. And I'm like, wait, I was planning on a Ho-Oh. I can just get budget Ho-Oh in C tier as a Moltres. And then we're coming into the end of the draft. This is the pick I'm probably least satisfied with. I got Azelf as a Levitate attacker. I do not like that it's a Psychic type along with Necrozma, because Necrozma has, 2 quad weaknesses to Ghost and Dark. And I've done a good job about making nothing else on the team weak to either Ghost or Dark. But it probably is... The Azelf, even though it's going to be sashed a lot of the time, it just makes the opportunity cost of my opponents teching on Ghost and Dark moves a little bit higher, or a little bit lower, I suppose. The value gets higher, so the opportunity cost goes down, because I have 2 things weak to it instead of just 1. So I'm not 100% satisfied with that. The speed is like okay, but it's like I don't need a fast special attacker when I got Miraidon. In an ideal world, actually, I probably will even ask about this, but the St. Louis Mine is they actually right now have Sableye and Meowstic Male, which are both prankster setters that don't really have, like, Tailwind. They both get Thunderwave for speed control. But the big thing is that they both set Prankster screens. I might ask about Meowstic Male for Azelf, because Prankster is kind of nice. My team doesn't necessarily need screens, but I wouldn't be opposed to having them. And it's not a ground immunity, but it still feels pretty good. I don't know, I do like the Azelf. I just feels like there's not many weeks when I would bring it. I feel like I'm bringing these top guys, like, so much that, and then, like, even these, I feel like my C tiers are, like, the 2 weakest, and it's like, they're not even bad. I think it's just that everybody else is, like, great value for the tier they're in, and just, they fit and work together on a team very nicely. And then the last pick, Jugulus, was one of the ones I knew I wanted going in, but by the time it came to my, I think, 5th pick, yeah, around the time I took Gyarados, most teams had either had 2 A tiers or had a Dark type, pretty high up, so I'm like, okay, they're probably not going to stack Dark types, and the ones that don't have a Dark type have used up their A tier. So I felt like it was safe to wait to the end, and it was. I did get it last pick. So that's my team. That's a bit of yapping, but, you know, first team builder is always going to be a bit longer. We can look at our opponent for this week, which is the Pacifidlog Piplups, which, yeah, we can just scroll over, I guess, instead of zooming out. This team is, unfortunately, this is probably coming out before Colin and I, and maybe Lazy's team breakdown of all the teams. I feel like this is probably the weakest draft in the league, and that really comes from the fact that I would not consider them to have a restricted. They have a Hoopa Unbound, which actually is a bit, like, quite a bit better than regular Hoopa, but that's not really to its benefit. That's just how bad regular Hoopa is. Stats, it's got great offenses, but the problem is it's not super bulky, and it's not super fast. It's also not super slow. Super slow would be pretty good on a Trick Room team, which this, like, is a pseudo Trick Room team. But it's just right in the middle, and it's probably not going to die to, like, 1 hit, but it'll die to, like, 2. And this is double, so you can just double into it. I do think the Indeedee actually helps it a lot, though, setting Psychic Terrain for Expanding Force and redirecting stuff away from it. It's tough to say. I don't know how good the player is. I was going to say, I think this team could get, like, a few wins, but it really depends on the piloting. They'd have to outplay and outbuild their opponents, I think, to get wins. Excuse me. The Urshifu Single Strike's kind of nice. Unfortunately, it does just, you know, stack that, a lot of weaknesses with the second Dark type that they picked. And then they sort of have the triple waters on the team, with Primarina and Polion Keldeo, which is, like, awkward. And then they've obviously got Vivillon as well, which is also weak to Electric, but then they tried to shore up the Electric weakness with Rhyperior as a Lightning Rod user, and then Executor Alola as a Quad Resist, and then just got Delphox as a Fire type, which they don't have. Does not give them, oh, it does, because they have Executor, yeah, so they have Grass, Fire, Water, and it also is another Expanding Force user that works outside of the Trick Room, because it's quite fast, actually. It's a little bit awkward. The guys I expect, I actually am going to zoom out so that we can see both teams together. Let's see. I think Indeedee comes 100%. I don't think you can afford to not bring Urshifu Single Strike with the rest of your team, as bad as it is. Hoopa Unbound, surely it's got to come, right? It's your high tier restricted. You've probably got to bring it. Now, Rhyperior is also 100% bring. Those guys are 100% brings, I think. The awkward thing is that you have triple water and a Vivillon into Electric Terrain, which means that you actually have to bring one of them. You can't not bring them because there's only 2 Pokemon left, being the Delphox and the Executor. Obviously, of the waters, I think Keldeo is the most likely bring. It's the quickest of them. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, the Primarina is pretty likely as well. If they go harder on the Trick Room, Fairy's actually pretty good into my team, so I could see Primarina coming. And then a last one could still be Keldeo, could be Vivillon, could be Executor's backup Trick Room setter. Vivillon is particularly awkward because it can't actually Sleep Powder anything, because I do have Electric Terrain. So it could still be Keldeo, could be double waters, or it could be the Executor for that quad electric weakness and a backup Trick Room setter. But these 4 come for sure, I think. Anyway, we can take a look at what I've done. We're starting off with a Miraidon, which is, I'm not sure exactly what it does. I know this is faster than Keldeo by a point. We can put Keldeo in. 176, and then Miraidon should just kill, like, almost everything. Rhyperior, yep, kills AV max HP Rhyperior with Draco. We're Life Orb because I do want to have Protect, because in case they get the Trick Room up, it gives me 1 turn of leeway, essentially. I'm probably never going to be able to live a hit in Trick Room from Rhyperior specifically. Anything else I can live a hit from, except maybe Expanding Forced Hoopa, but I'm not leading this, and that means that when I come in, the Indeedee would have to, like, re-switch in, which is probably not going to happen. So I could stall a turn, you know, soak up a high horsepower. They're probably not going to expect me to be able to protect my Miraidon, because they're usually specs, so hopefully that can absorb a hit. Then I can hit them with a Draco and kill them. Electro Drift is for just everything else, specifically the quad electric weaks. And then I have Dazzling Gleam because they do have 2 dark types, and it hits around the Follow Me from this Indeedee. Terra Fairy for extra damage there, and Terra Fairy is just really good defensively. It resists dark and fighting, and they have 2 darks and 2 fightings, as well as dragon as well from this guy, if that guy's carrying a dragon move. Next up, we have Iron Jugulus. This one that's enough special attack, I think, to one-shot Urshifu. Single strike. I mean, they're the same bulk, aren't they? Iron Jugulus. It's actually not, but I think that's just... oh, yeah, because the problem is if I... Let's see, let's raise this to max. I think it's just... Oh, I do get a guaranteed Oko. Oh, no, this is a slightly bulkier. I'd expect that at max. Which, when we lower the attack to 196, which is what we have, yep, guaranteed Oko on just 4/4, which is about what I'm expecting, especially if it's going to be sashed. And then the speed is just so that we still get booster speed, so we can outspeed Keldeo. It's a little bit unfortunate. I wish we were like 109, because right now we actually are speed tying the Keldeo at 108 on both of us. So I did have to do that much speed. I would love to just invest like very little speed. Or, you know, go some speed and then get a booster special attack. But we have a lot of bulk, which is nice. We can live a Rock Slide from max attack Rhyperior. We wall Hoopa like so well, unless it's carrying an elemental punch. Let me check Primarina. Moonblast into me. I do die. So maybe it's worth doing Terra Steel. I was thinking about Terra Ground for Rock Slide, but then I'm like, okay, Terra Steel, but then that makes me weak to fighting. Is there a type that resists... What about Poison? Yeah, I kind of... Poison, problem with Poison is that it makes me weak to Expanding Force, which I don't necessarily want to be weak to. But, no, because if this comes, it has to Terra. Oh, wait. But I'm going to be snarling it. I do live 1 now. Okay. I might do Steel. But Steel... They're going to be hitting me with a fighting move anyways, the problem. It's not like this incentivizes a fighting move to be hitting me, because that's always the best thing to hit me with. Next up, we have Arbalova, with min speed to be 1 point slower than the Rhyperior that I alluded to earlier. And we should one-shot it. Like, very easily. This is Assault Vest killing, with just Giga Drain, not even Energy Ball, not even, Grass Knot, just Giga Drain. We have Pollen Puff to have a very good chance to one-shot Hoopa Unbound. Probably not going to click that, but I wanted to tech it on just for the meme. We don't actually really need this slot for anything else. And then I just did Dazzling Gleam Terra Fairy for the same sort of reasons. If it's Life Orb, this will actually two-shot it, which is nice. And we have a Citrus Berry with Harvest to get a lot of HP back. Next up, we have a Florges with Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Giga Drain, Protect, basically filling almost the exact same role as Florges, or Arbalova. They're incredibly similar. The real difference between the two of them is that this one's slow and this one's fast. So this one pairs a little bit better with something other than Necrozma, and this one pairs better with Necrozma, because Necrozma is Trick Room Imprison, the idea being that I lead it, get a Psychic Seed, special defense boost, and pretty much unkillable for the whole game, and then can just fire off my own Expanding Forces, which actually blocks Hoopa Expanding Force, which is nice, and then Terra Blast, because if Necrozma comes, it 100% has to Terra Fairy, which is nice, because then this guy's a Fairy already, whereas this one might want to Terra into a Fairy. And with Necrozma, there's no Trick Room, so this one's a little bit worse, since this is aiming to benefit off my opponent's Trick Room, and then this one has some speed in it to be faster than Necrozma, and maybe, potentially finish off the Indeedee and let Necrozma get a Terra Blast onto like an Urshifu, or get a single target Expanding Force, which does like 70 to 80% to AV Rhyperior. It's ridiculous if it's single target. So that's the game plan. The game plan is if it's Necrozma, then bring this one. If no Necrozma, then this one is a little bit better. Yes, and then Terra Steel, same sort of reasons as this. It's a psychic, or it's a psychic resist, as well as, you know, maybe a fairy resist, as well as that's actually kind of it. Just, it's really a psychic resist. Is there a better type that resists psychic? The problem is that Terra Psychic would make me weak to dark. Oh, it's a poison resist as well, because I think Urshifu and Rhyperior could tech on Poison Jab. Could do poison. Poison makes me weak to psychic. Yeah, I don't want to be weak to psychic. This one, the EVs on this are... This special attack is... What is this for? Is it two-shotting Rhyperior? It probably should two-shots Rhyperior easy, right? Rhyperior into Florges. Yeah, it's two-shotting that easily. What's the... It's probably for something into Indeedee, right? It's probably for Moonblast. Moonblast plus Terra Blast kills Indeedee, I think, is probably exactly what the 236 and then 148 are for. Yep. And then this one is... What's 104 speed for? It's probably for Hoopa Unbound with like 31 Modest, and then like, yeah, it's just being faster than a little bit of speed creep on the Hoopa, just in case, because I do expect min speed, but just in case, I want to be able to be faster than it. And then this is 1 point faster than that. This one's also 1 point faster than that. This is a just sort of backup in case I don't want to bring like Jugulus or even the Necrozma. I could bring this instead. I had trouble finding the last spot on the team because like these first 5 feel really good. Bring lead probably this and this, then bring one of these in the back and then Miraidon in the back just to clean up. Then I was trying Treads, but it just didn't feel like great. And then I was trying... I never tried Moltres because of triple waters, but it actually could be okay into like Urshifu. But the big thing is that the Rhyperior is what was giving me problems because I was starting with Treads. I started with Treads, and then having Treads and Miraidon in the back kind of sucked because they're both weak to ground, and if they have managed to get up Trick Room, Rhyperior goes stupid under Trick Room. So I want something that helps deal with the Rhyperior. And of the guys I have remaining, Gyarados is the best at that with Intimidate. Waterfall to just one-shot it because it can't be running Solid Rock. It has to be running Lightning Rod this matchup, I think. Crunch, 2 shots Indeedee. Terra Dark is just great defensively. Do I do Terra Dark on Florges? I didn't even think about that because I want something that resists... Yeah, maybe I do Terra Dark here. It still is weak to fighting. But isn't it just better than Steel in most regards? Not into Primarina. Into everything but Primarina and I guess Vivillon. Terra Dark is better than Steel. Yeah, I'll do Terra Dark there, I think. I'm going to think about the Terra types a little bit more. And then I have Taunt. That's the one thing that Gyarados adds that to the team that nothing else can currently do, is that Taunt. Everybody else is just sort of saying the Indeedee can't set Trick Room with it, like Imprison. This one actually stops it from Follow Meing as well and forces a switch, which is really nice, especially if, you know, it's like a Psychic Seed. I can make it lose that boost. And then I can also kind of safely double that slot, expecting a switch, get some huge chip on whatever comes in, cover the switches, and then protect. It's nice that this cannot protect, so it's nice to have a few. Even though my opponent does have Urshifu as well as Hoopa. Hoopa's moves break protect. I think both of them. No, maybe it's just Hyperspace Fury. I think it might be just Hyperspace Fury. But I feel like both of them break it. I'll have to look that up. But there's no way it runs Hyperspace Hull because Expanding Force is just way better. That's the team. I guess I haven't talked about the items. Life Orbs, just so that I can switch moves and protect. Booster Energy keeps me faster than Keldeo, like, no matter what. Citrus Berry, just with Harvest, is great. Leftovers is probably these last few are the ones that I'm least certain on. Psychic Seed's pretty good, but the thing is that the Hoopa is going to not be able to click Expanding Force because I will be imprisoning it. But Psychic Speed does open, like, Symbiosis past the Leftovers here, which is kind of nice. Charty Berry is really just to help that Rhyperior, since that's really what Gyarados is there for, to shore up that Rhyperior matchup. And then I could do... I just thought of something. I could do room service Arbolova. That could be interesting. Room service, and then if outside of the trick room I'm faster than Rhyperior, and then inside I'm slower. That's interesting. Let's see. Primarina. Min speed Primarina quiet has a speed set of 58. What's neutral speed on this? 31, 59. You know. And then what's 59 minus 1? Let's put Arbolova in. 31, modest. Then that goes to minus 1, 39. Rhyperior. That's kind of tempting. That's actually kind of tempting. Let's make this modest. Room service. And then that opens up a citrus berry, like, here. I kind of like that. Because I'll be faster than min speed Primarina, as well as all Rhyperiors outside of the trick room. And then, well, not all Rhyperiors, but just Rhyperiors that don't have speed investment. No, I'm not faster. I have to go 4. And then now I'm no longer slower than... Yeah, never mind. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That would have been really good if it worked, to be faster than Rhyperior outside and inside, but Rhyperior speed set's actually so low that it doesn't make that much of a difference. So we put back on a citrus berry, and then we go negative there, and then 0 there, 39. Yeah, it sucks that that didn't work out, because the Rhyperior hits 40, and to be... Oh, no, this is at minus 1, though. It's minus 1. Oh, but wait, no. Yeah, we add the adamant back. Yeah, we have to go to 61. Yep, never mind. And then that drops us to 40 exactly. We need to be 38. Otherwise, we are speed tying Brave 0. Yep, that sucks. But this is fine. The only bad thing is that we actually got to make sure not to pass the leftovers to Botany with the harvest. You know, we eat our berry, then we get past leftovers. Now we can no longer harvest anything else. It's not that big of a deal because I think we never bring them together. I think these two fill almost the same role, except this one doesn't like Terra as much as this one, and this one is slower than this one. So whether or not I bring Necrozma sort of fills out whichever one of these comes as the supporting, like, pseudo-fairy type. That's the team. I feel pretty good about the match. I think we can cook up a win here. So yeah. You'll have to stay tuned for the match. We'll be playing tomorrow morning, which is not good for an insomniac like me. But we make do. Country boys make do. So I'll see you then. Good luck. Have fun. Yeah, very similar to what I prepped for. No Keldeo, though. Let's see. Hoopa Psychic. Rhyperior. Flying. In Prim is water. Indeedee ground. Delphox grass. And Urshifu steel. Alright, I'm going to lead this and this in game 1. Then I think we've said that this is in the back with that, and then no reason never not to bring that. Oh, okay, I think she got it in just in time. I had to tell her to make sure to only bring 4. Because, it'll just bring all 6 if you run out of time. Okay, yeah, just 4, good. Alright. Oh, I did not change my music. This is what we were listening to last time, but it's okay. Indeedee Hoopa, yep. God, Hoopa is massive. Indeedee is so small. Okay, Psychic Seed Indeedee. Okay. We are going to Terra, Imprison, and Snarl. My handwriting is so bad. I think my blood sugar's low. I haven't eaten anything and it's like noon. We're supposed to play at 10. Which is not her fault. She said she had a late night last night at work. So I can't blame her for wanting to get a little extra sleep, but if I had known that I would have time to get some breakfast, I would have eaten something. There's my Terra. I don't expect the Hoopa to Terra Psychic in front of a Jugulis. And there's no real reason for Indeedee to Terra here. That's good damage on the Indeedee. Hyperspace Fury. Okay, we eat that like a feast. It is Life Orb. And faster. Alright, we'll do this just in case for like a crit or something. The Indeedee's probably going down. It's probably follow me and then another attack. Or maybe a protect. I don't know. Maybe I should have doubled the Indeedee. No, because then I can Snarl next turn. Okay, that's withdrawing. Urshifu comes in. That is taking a Terra Blast unless this is follow me. Nope. Okay, that's one for Necrozma. Skill swap. You've taken Prism Armor. I don't actually need Prism Armor, because I don't expect to take any super effective attacks as a Fairy type. Urshifu is not Sash. Which means it could be Sash. There's probably no Sash if it wasn't on that. Okay, Delphox comes in. I will go for single target Expanding Force and Snarl. I mean, right skill swap on Indeedee. Recruitment skill swap. Hoopa showed Hyperspace Fury. Indeedee switching into Hoopa again. That's a huge hit on Delphox. Maybe I should have killed it. I didn't actually think it would die to Dark Pulse, but I think it does die to Dark Pulse plus any chip. Okay, Delphox is going to get a hit off. It's Overheat. Into Necrozma, probably. Which does nothing. Is it worth showing this? Actually, it's probably not. Yeah, I'll preserve information. Dark Pulse that. Yes, let's preserve information. I could just immediately win the game by Tailwinding. Jugulus gets one. But I won't, because I will preserve Tailwind in case of Game 2. Thunderbolt, that's good to know, good to know. I was worried about Thunder Punch, but I didn't even realize it got Thunderbolt. Okay, that's 2 for Necrozma. Delphox should overheat. And then I will Terra Blast and I'll Snarl to give Necrozma a 5% chance of getting a KO. Okay, Jugulus is taking it. 2 for Necrozma, 2 for Jugulus. Alright, we moving on to game 2. I don't think I would change a thing about that. I think the Urshifu could have been... We would have to have Poison Jab. Or I guess Terra Blast, since it is Terra Steel. But I don't think Urshifu does a whole lot into Jugulus. It could have Thunder Punch, I suppose. This game, I'm expecting... I mean, it's probably just not even going to try and Trick Room. Maybe don't not even bring the NDD. Okay. Hyperspace Fury, Thunderbolt, Overheat, and that's all we saw. It's not Sash or Shifu. Did we see an item on Delphox? I really wasn't paying attention. I do the sames. Florges in the back. And Miraidon in the back. No Rhyperior, actually, is interesting. I would have expected Rhyperior game 1. Yeah, no Indeedee would make a lot of sense, because that gives me Psychic Seed boost and, Expanding Force. How fast is Delphox? Is it 104? It is, yeah, 104. So I could have not been Booster Speed Jugulus. Booster Special Attack would be better now that I know, obviously, that there's no, Keldeo, but I did not know that there would be no Keldeo. I mean, I guess Prim does make a bit more sense, because the Fairy at least adds something, whereas the Fighting is already covered by Urshifu. She's running out of the time again. You do have to select, because if you run out, we will, it's just gonna give you all 6, yeah. Alright. Rhyperior or Shifu, yep. Let's E-Force, Terra Blast is better than E-Force, right? Yeah. Yeah, I like this. She is Terra Amy, or Shifu, probably. Yeah, okay. It's kind of what I expected. I think it's okay, though. I think I have guys that hit Steel types in the back, like Miraidon. Doesn't even hit it for super effective, but just hits it. Actually, no, with the Lightning Rod guy on the field, it's a bit of a problem. Yeah, Steel types actually do kind of schmoke me. I hope that Robotics makes it through the turn. I think it's possible. that it does. Right. That's a lot of damage. And we got a flinch. That's very fortunate flinch. Time to figure out if this is AV. Looks like it. Rock Blast. Oh my god. $38, yeah, that's about right. Well, it's got to be Miraidon. We gotta hit a Draco, I think. Air Steel Urshifu is a problem. What do I have? Like, Dark Pulse and Electro Drift once this Rhyperior go down are kind of it. Alright, who's coming in? Indeedy. This probably does not die. Yeah, not with it. Removing my terrain. It does have Iron Head, okay. Okay, we get a Terra Blast off. Okay. I think this has to be this. Okay, it does have Follow Me. Yeah, this sucks. Yeah, it doesn't kill. Couldn't even afford to switch Florges in there. I have nothing for steel types. Moonblast. That. And then Electro Drift the Indeedee, maybe? Maybe this kills? Alright, does this kill the Indeedee? No. Iron Head into Florges. Does kill. Let's see, is that a band? Probably not. Iron Head into Florges. With the Terra Steel, yeah, it doesn't have to be Choice Banded. Alright, we'll go for this. Let me get Miraidon a KO, unless it switches. Switching Urshifu. Yep, Miraidon does get a KO. It might even get 2. I can crit a Draco Meteor. No, okay. That's game. Let's see, so what do we change? I mean, we could bring Gyarados into that lead. I mean, we could bring Gyarados Jugulus. Gyarados Jugulus, Miraidon, Necrozma in the back. Or if your head Rock Blast. Probably AV. What type my Gyarados is dark? Alright, let's try Gyarados, Jugulus. Do I even want Miraidon? Miraidon is just a solid pick into a lot of stuff, yeah. Now the question is, do I want this or do I want something else? This is like, kind of gotta be the Terra if it comes. Yeah. It's still really good. And plus the NDD did come last game. Did we see anything else? We saw just Iron Head on Urshifu. We only saw Rock Blast. We did see Follow Me on NDD. Which means probably no attacks. Well, could be Dazzling. Never know. Okay, this lead that I've picked is pretty weak to Hoopa lead. If it goes back to Hoopa and Didi, that's bad. Because I have two electric weak guys, and we've seen Thunderbolt. And Didi or Shifu. Okay. Okay. Let's see. In DDF, Gyarados. Waterfall. I think I have Waterfall Dark Pulse it. I just have to hope that that kills, because Terra Ground on the NDD would be really bad. I don't think there's room for Protect on the NDD. Skill Swap, Trick Room, Follow Me, probably an attack as the last move. Maybe I should have taunted it. Ooh, Taunt may have been better. Taunt may have been better. No, I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Hoopa comes in. It's probably setting Trick Room. Oh, no, it's following me. Okay, oh, this might not KO. It does not. Okay. Let's switch to Miraidon. It's Snarl. Miraidon should be safe. Miraidon should live... Oh, maybe Miraidon... Oh yeah, because we're overriding Psychic Terrain. Yes, 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 yes. The Snarl plus the overriding Psychic Terrain should let us live in E-Force. That was bad if that was Trick Room on that turn. I messed up my calc there. I misremembered from how much the... I just thought the ND took like a lot from Snarl, so I figured it would take slightly more from Dark Pulse. Okay, overwrite the Psychic Terrain. As long as we hit the ND with Snarl, we're fine, I think. Okay, the ND is switching into Urshifu, which is taking a Snarl. This is an amazing Dazzling Gleam here. Thunderbolt, I should live this at -1. Ooh, I am in the electric terrain, though. Do we tear Fairy? Let's see, Hoopa. Hoopa, Unbound, into, Miraidon. Week 1. Dazzling Gleam's 55, Terra Dazzling Gleam is 83. Yeah, let's do it. And I feel like I'm getting Sucker Punch, so actually, do we Tailwind, or do we switch? Let's switch. Show me Sucker Punch. I could have Tailwinded, but I don't actually think I need the Tailwind. I think I'd rather get an Intimidate here. Reduce the damage that Miraidon's going to take. If it doesn't Terra, the Urshifu... Okay, the Urshifu does switch. That's fine. Okay, I'm not going for an electric move here. We are Terra-ing, and we are Dazzling Gleaming for a kill on this Hoopa. Hopefully. It should do 80 to 100%. $80 to 100. Yes, okay. Lost some HP. Urshifu comes back in. Dazzling. And I'll Waterfall that so that it doesn't get off an attack. This, yeah, has to be Terra Steel. There's no other option here but Terra Steel. I am faster than Urshifu with my thing, right? Urshifu hits a max of 149. That's Adamant, though. Let's make it Jolly. 163. How fast is my guy at level 50? 168. Yeah. Jugulis is faster than Urshifu. Okay, Rhyperior does go down. Another one from Miraidon. We should be taking an Iron Head, and that's a KO for Urshifu. Then it takes a... It's going to take a... Waterfall here. How much is this doing? Not enough. But it's okay, because we bring in Jugulis. We Tailwind on the Sucker Punch. KO the NTD on the Follow Me. And then are fine. I'll still target the Urshifu. But yeah, I do expect Follow Me there. Tailwind. No Sucker Punch. So maybe it is Choice Band then. Gyarados gets one. It looks like it's Choice Band or Choice Scarf. Probably not Choice Scarf because it would have outsped me, so it's probably Choice Band. And then it looks like Gyarados is going to get a second one too, unless I want to give it to Necrozma. I'll let Gyarados get it. Let's go, Gyarados. That is a good game. Oh. Well played to my opponent. She definitely caught me off guard in game 2. I had nothing for steel types. Oh my gosh. Well, that is week 1 of the FDL Season 7. Regulation J. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Take care, and I'll see you next time in week 2.